Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of my live tea tasting. Now I know it's been a while, but I am back and I have a brand new tea for you guys to test today. It's a blend from Tallulah called Kookaberry Kiwi. And this one smells incredible and I can't wait to jump into it. So without any further ado, let's go right into it. Oh wow, this thing's like it's not cooperating. I know it's been a while. I'm a little bit rusty. Why is my thing not working? There we go. Anyway, so today's tea. Hey Sneha, welcome. Hey Ma, welcome. How's it going? So I have got this new blend, Kookaberry Kiwi from Tallulah. And I'm just setting myself up. There we go, yeah. So this is a white tea. They use Bai Mudan. They have Bai Mudan white tea, dried fruit pieces, and strawberry flavoring. Now, I wasn't able to find out if Kookaberry is a real fruit or not. But what I have found from it is that it's a kind of strawberry. So I guess that's what the strawberry flavoring is, along with the kiwi. I'm assuming that the dried pieces of fruit are kiwi. They're not very specific as to what's in this, so I'm just using my best guess. Now we're going to take a look at the tea itself. This is a typical Bai Mudan. It's really big leaf. You can see that it's just wide open. And it's just one big piece that unfurls. Now there's not going to be a whole lot of growth in this because it's already an open, pretty open leaf for the most part. There are a few closed pieces. Hey Zam, welcome. Hey Teresa, welcome. There are a few closed pieces like this. You'll see at the top it's kind of furled still, but that's not typical of a Bai Mudan leaf. A Bai Mudan leaf is usually open already and just dried out. So here we have the liqueur itself. You can tell it's a really light yellow color. It's barely colored at all. You'll see my hand goes right through. And there's not much of a difference between the clear glass and the water inside. But it smells incredible. It's got a nice full flavor of fruit in it. It smells so sweet like candy. I can't wait to to dive in. So let's go ahead and take our first slurp. Ooh, that is nice. It's a very juicy flavor. The white tea flavoring is very light. You can it's there. It's very slightly vegetal, but the fruit is very powerful in this, so it serves as a good catalyst to occupy your palate while you search for the white tea flavoring behind it. If you don't know what you're looking for, it's that kind of salt watery vegetal taste that you don't get from the fruit. So it's very easy to distinguish as long as you know what you're looking for. Anything that's not that fruit is going to be the Bai Mudan flavor. Oh, that's delicious. It's so juicy. Very sweet. I'm tasting the strawberry more than the kiwi, but the kiwi is there. It's kind of like a citrusy, more on the tart side than the sweet. So if we take a look at the Bai Mudan pieces, the leaves here, you'll see there's not that big of a difference between the dry and the wet leaf. It's just slightly more open now. Is this? Yeah, oh, it's still attached. Okay, so you'll see it's just slightly more open than its counterpart. Oh, of course I'm going to pick up the closed one. Come on. There we go. Close enough. So you'll see there's not much of a difference in growth. Usually, like when you're working with green teas or black teas, or especially Taiwanese oolongs, where it starts off as a really, really small curled leaf or a bald leaf, or something to that effect, where it's been manipulated somehow. This is only, since it's a white tea, it's only laid out to dry and then packaged and shipped. This one has very, very low, if any, oxidation. So you're going to get more of a fresh leaf taste. And that means that it's going to be a very, very light taste. Oxidation is where the flavor is. So a less oxidated tea is going to have less of a bold flavor, more of a natural vegetal flavor. And you're going to want to get that, get as much of that out of it, because you're not really going to taste anything with the Bai Mudan just on its own. You'll want to have a little something behind it, unless you like a Bai Mudan flavor, which once you know how to identify it, you can appreciate it a lot more. Oops, I dropped my leaf in there. It's a good thing that it's just a tea leaf. And by the way, tea leaves are edible. I have heard of people making salad with the Camellia sinensis leaf. The only thing is, I hear it's also very bitter, which it stands to reason, because, you know, like, I've had bitter teas, and oof, it can be pretty strong if it's been handled or mishandled badly enough. So I can imagine, yeah, it would be a little bit bitter, but it is still edible and very good for you. There is a lot of health benefits to eating. Hey, Jose, welcome. There's a lot of health benefits to eating tea leaves, or drinking them straight up like a matcha, where it's just the powdered leaf. Ingesting that has a lot of health benefits, but that's neither here nor there. Because I'm doing a Bai Mudan today. So the fruitiness is very, very light-hearted. It's bold and sweet and candy-like. But the fruit, like the dried fruit pieces, is, I guess it's assorted. Because, like, they didn't just say that it was dried kiwi. They're saying it's just assorted. They're just saying it's fruit pieces. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like anybody from Tilula is on tonight's stream, so I can't really ask about that. But also, I'm not able to find any specific pieces in here. It might just be luck of the draw that everything. All the heavier pieces sunk to the bottom, and, you know, I didn't quite get anything from this one. But the flavoring is there, and it's still pretty bold and sweet, so I'm enjoying that for what it is. Now, there's a very, very smooth mouthfeel to this. There's, it's liquidy, watery. There's no strong texture. At the moment, it's just basically water. There's no heft to it, and everything is pretty good. And it's a slow burning tea that just kind of sits on your tongue for quite some time. And as you breathe in or out, you taste it over and over again. So you're recycling that sweetness that you're, oh, hey, Greg, welcome. It's recycling that sweetness on your palate as you breathe in and out, or as I'm speaking. The flavor is just sitting there, and that's what you want from a sweet tea, especially if you enjoy that kind of profile, the sweetness just sits on your tongue. It doesn't dissipate right away. So this is the kind of tea that you can probably steep multiple times, and it will still maintain that, maybe 2, possibly 3, depending on how heavy the flavoring is. For instance, if it was steamed, it will last longer than if it was powdered. Powdered would just wash away in the first steep, and you won't taste it again on the second. Oh, excuse me. But Bai Mu Dan itself is a pretty hearty tea, not in flavor but in strength. So you can steep it multiple times and still get a good flavor out of it. Because it's not oxidized, you can oversteep it, but it won't do as much damage because it hasn't been oxidized. So you don't get that boldness of flavor. Most of the boldness of the flavor comes from the fruit and the fruit flavoring that's already put in there. So this is the kind of tea that, I mean, I would probably just do it once, but I do a lot of my teas just once, even if they are meant to be steeped 2 or 3 times. Usually I would only do that to a Taiwanese oolong. They're the ones that are balled up and they're meant to take the abuse. So if you do it right, you get a good flavor out of it, like up to about 4 or 5 times. I wouldn't steep a white tea 4 or 5 times, just because it tends to be more on the delicate side. You know, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever had an oversteeped white tea, like just a pure white tea. The one that can take the most abuse as a white tea, which I tend to go for, is the Silver Needle, and that you could steep all day pretty much and get a nice flavor out of it. But the Bai Mu Dan is less resilient, so you're not going to get the opportunity to steep it as much. I would do 2, maybe 3 tops. I love how it's still maintaining that flavor, because it's a fruit blend. It's going to have that fruitiness very, very strong at the beginning and probably throughout, and it does overpower the Bai Mu Dan quite a bit. And that's always what I recommend when you're starting out drinking teas, especially with white teas. You want to start out with a flavor, so that the more you drink, the more you can understand what it is you're looking for when you set it aside from the obvious flavors. Like, so you're going to be able to say, slurp, slurp, that tastes like strawberry and something else. It's that something else that's the Bai Mu Dan. And until you train your tongue to identify the Bai Mu Dan, it's just going to taste like hot water. So that's the kind of dichotomy that you'll face when drinking white teas. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but while I was working at Groupon, I took a call about a tea, and the customer was upset because the tea didn't taste like anything. And so I looked up what the tea was, and I said, oh, okay, that's why. And I had to explain that they use white tea rather than a green or a black. So the flavor was going to be very, very light. And she wasn't tasting it. She was saying, like, this, I don't think there's anything in here. But it was like a tea bag. There was physically something in her hand that she was steeping. But they didn't explain what that tea was. So she's probably thinking, okay, this is like a black tea, a Lipton, something that has a strong flavor. But I explain. I say, yeah, this is a white tea. It's going to be very, very light, and it's meant to be very, very light. But I encourage her to try other white teas. She had a tea bag in her hand. Yes, she probably had more than one. She was probably looking at it like, what is this? I don't know. No, but I encourage her to try other white teas if she had the chance, just for comparison reasons. You know, this is when I was first starting out, but I'm very proud of myself that I did know that. Otherwise, I don't know who would have known where that call would have gone. But it's funny how like how tea information just comes in handy when when you least expect it. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know whatever happened to her, but hopefully she like tried other white teas and started understanding more about what she was drinking, because like a lot of people, they drink things or they eat things and they don't know what they're putting into their body. And I'm not one of those people to say, oh yeah, you have to be super careful about what you put into your body. But by that same token, ignorance can get you into trouble. If you don't understand that you're drinking a white tea, you don't have that expectation, because all of your experience with probably with greens or blacks or anything with a stronger flavor. So white teas are going to be on that side that people don't really comprehend their expectations. But you know, like, this is what experience is all about. You know, you try and you enjoy, and then you try some more and keep on exploring until you can decipher what it is that you like or dislike in your tea experience. So that being said, as always, I encourage everybody to go out and drink and experiment and try new things, because you never know what you'll discover. Ooh, all of my sinuses are draining every single time. Oh my God, that's so good. Like, I love how this flavor is just long lasting. It's not surprising, because it's a fruit blend, that everything is just gonna stay strong and bold, and probably concentrate at the bottom. I am impressed that there's not a whole lot of sediment at the bottom of this. I'm sitting there, I'm giving it the chance, but it's not. I did steep this at, what was it, 180 degrees for about 3 minutes, because it is a white tea. It's going to be slightly more delicate than a green tea, although there's less of a risk of it being bitter because it hasn't gone through the oxidation process. So I'm getting that bold flavor from the fruit, not so much the Baimudan itself, and I'm happy with it, because it's settling on my tongue and maintaining that that delicious flavor. Oh, it's all draining off. I really hate when that happens. Anyway, I'm going to open up the floor once again. Questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, now's the time. As usual, I will open up the questions with Teresa's question, what would I pair this with? Now, this is going to be an easy one because it's so sweet. This is definitely a dessert tea. So I'm going to have I can pair it with pretty much any dessert that goes with fruit. Like a vanilla cake or something light. Something that goes well with strawberry cheesecake. You know, you can't go wrong with cheesecake and strawberries. What else? What else? Like ice cream. Ice cream will go definitely well with this. If I wanted to challenge myself, I'd probably go with an entree. So that being said, an entree that would go well with this, probably a chicken, like a chicken Caesar salad. Something light, something airy, something that won't bog down the palate too much as you eat. Otherwise, your palate's going to be overwhelmed with the meal, and you won't taste the fruitiness or the lightness of the tea itself. Ooh, that's so good. I love how it kind of coats my throat, even though my sinuses are draining. It's nice and it's nice and light, and it's starting to coat my throat, so it's not as sore as it could possibly get. So that's one thing. Oh, and by the way, since this is a Camellia sinensis tea, it's going to have caffeine in it, and likely, I say likely because there's no way I can measure it specifically for this cup, but likely it's going to be on the higher end, because white tea tends to have more caffeine because it's not extracted through the oxidation process. Oh, excuse me. But that's usually on the younger leaves, actually. Now that I mention it, it's probably higher for a silver needle than a Baimudan. Baimudan is going to be less caffeinated because it hasn't been attacked, basically. So the story behind that is silver needles, because they're such a young bud, the plant wants to protect it from insects. So caffeine being a natural insecticide, they put as much caffeine as they possibly can. However, when you steep it, less comes out. For the older tea leaves, when you pluck them and you start processing them and oxidizing them, the leaf feels like it's under attack, so it generates that caffeine, and that's why darker teas tend to have more caffeine. But the caveat in there is that's not necessarily true every time. So, at the God's honest truth, I can only say that it is caffeinated. As far as the caffeine content, no idea. It's probably going to be on the lighter side. Okay, questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, now's the time. I do have a really cool announcement. The Chicago Tea Festival is coming. You guys have seen my updates on the group page, and you know we've got about, I want to say, 13 or 14 vendors locked in. We're still recruiting more, and it's going pretty well. And I will be making my debut there as a vendor, and I will be selling my own brand of tea. Finally, after all these years, I'll have my own brand, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to. I've narrowed the choices down pretty much, and I'm currently working with someone on designing the package. So yeah, everything is going according to plan, and I'm super excited to get this going. Throat's a little dry there. And that being said, I'm looking forward to setting up and getting my name out there and really going for it. This is going to be a wonderful opportunity, and I am thoroughly looking forward to it. To all my Chicago friends, I truly hope that you get to come and visit my booth. I don't have a booth number yet, but I will. And I'm happy to let you guys know what that booth number is. It's not going to be a giant show just yet. We're starting from scratch. The people that are involved in this one have been involved but didn't run it in the previous years. So I'm working with Agnes from Chicago Tea House and Sheila from Lula, and the three of us are together working nonstop to get this off the ground. And it's just an exciting, wonderful feeling to get all of that in one place and just come together and enjoy tea. So and also there will be a strong chance that I'll be doing a presentation there. So that being said, if you're in the city and you want to have a really interesting tea class, I would suggest mine. It's going to be a lot of fun. I have something special in mind, and you know, I want this to be something that's memorable, pleasant, and just happy to have a good time. So that being said, thank you all for joining me today. This was an incredible blend. I will be posting the link on the description if you want to try it for yourself. So until next time, have a great night, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you later. Bye.